Welcome to Postgrad Solutions Postgrad Insight session today, which we're joined by Durham University, and they're going to be talking specifically about the Chevening Scholarship today. Now, it might not just be the Chevening Scholarship that you're applying for, it could be any kind of scholarship or funding at Durham, but today it is specifically about Chevening. Now, Chevening applications open on the first week of August. Postgrad Solutions are partnered with Chevening. We have a dedicated webinar coming up in 2 weeks, so if you need to find out about how to apply, or anything like that about the nitty-gritty about Chevening applications, please keep an eye out on our website for more information. Today's session is live, so if you have any questions, any concerns, any issues, please email webinars@postgradsolutions.com, or you can use the chat or Q&A facility to reach out to us directly on this live session. It will be on demand on postgrad.com and YouTube over the next 2 to 3 weeks, where you can find out more information about the application stages. But for now, I'd like to hand you over to Tom. Tom's going to be taking you through the next 30 to 45 minutes, whilst guiding you through to admissions experts, current students, and any other questions that might need to be asked. I'll be back for the Q&A towards the end. Tom, over to you.
So yeah, as Gareth says, we're Durham University, and we're going to run you through a little bit of an introduction to what Chevening and the Chevening experience is here at Durham. So I'd just like to kick off by wishing you a really warm welcome to Durham, and I'll run you through exactly what this session is kind of all about. So in terms of our agenda, I'm just going to give you a really brief overview to who we are, our place in the world, and what it's like to be a student here in Durham. We're going to speak to Kulwinder, who's our Chevening Assessor, to understand a little bit about the Chevening journey and your kind of experience in becoming a Chevening scholar here at Durham. Then I'm going to pass over to Summer, who works in our international team, to give a little flavour of what it's like to be a student at Durham, and that global student experience, which we hope all our students will be a part of. And then finally, before our Q&A session at the end, we'll hand over to Ankor, who's a current Chevening scholar here at Durham. So just to give you a bit of background on our university, so we're Durham and we're a world top 100 university, and we're quite unique in terms of universities, because we've got a distinctive collegiate system. So our university is split up into 17 really distinctive college communities, which adds an extra sense of belonging and home, I think, and really sets us apart from other institutions. We're actually England's third oldest university, and we're founded in 1832. And we have students and staff from over 120 countries, so we're truly a global institution. Alongside that, we've got really strong industrial links, and we really pride ourselves on our employability opportunities as well. So in terms of where we are in the world, we're in the northeast of England, and we're a really historic city, but we're quite a compact city, which makes us extremely easy to get around. And there's some fantastic kind of cultural and sporting things that really set our city apart. So we're really proud to have Durham Cricket just kind of, I don't know, a couple of miles up the road from campus, and there's fantastic kind of cultural events all year round here in Durham. In terms of where we are in the country, so we're about 3 hours from London, an hour and 45 minutes from Edinburgh, and 2.5 hours from Manchester by a train. So really easy to kind of come and find Durham. In our city, we offer a world-class education, but in a magnificent city. So we pride ourselves on being a really safe, beautiful, and historic city. And our campus is actually built around a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which we're extremely proud of. The city itself has so many amenities, but we're easily walkable in under 30 minutes. And on all sides, we're surrounded by beautiful countryside, which again gives you that balance of having a city environment, but also the countryside feel as well. I've just got a really short video to play, which gives you a bit of an idea of Durham's place in the world and what it's like to live here. hopefully that gives you a little insight of what it is like to come and study and live here in Durham, and to put a little bit more kind of a Chevening aspect on that, I guess. I'm going to pass over to my colleague Kulwinder, who's our Chevening assessor. So I'll bring Kulwinder in now, and she'll run you through that. So hi, Kulwinder.
Hello. Can you hear me clearly, Tom? Good. Okay. I've got about, say, 10 minutes to talk about the assessing of applications. I'm an assessor with Chevening. I've been for the last about 5 years since I joined Durham. And we thought that this year in the webinar, it might be a really good idea to give you some insight into how applications are assessed through the Chevening process. And I've been doing it for the last 5 years. So in this little 10 minutes, I'm going to run you specifically through the 4 questions that you are actually asked to give your insights into, write your answers, and submit them before the interview process commences. So the 4 aspects in which your applications are assessed are in terms of leadership and influencing. The other one is relationship building and shared learning, studying in the UK, and then you are asked to write something about the career plan as well. In my experience, while assessing a very large number of applications in a very short amount of time, I find that when students write, the students who are actually able to, the candidates who are able to write applications which are assessed as outstanding or very good have very clear features. And so knowing those and having a little insight into how that works would give you a leg up in terms of writing a successful application to the Chevening process. First, I'll talk about the leadership and influencing. One very common error, call it an error, call it an observation or whatever, is that most candidates think that it's to write about what you understand by leadership and influencing. Not exactly about that, not about giving a definition, but the expectation is to give us clear examples, articulation of how you understand leadership and influence. So focus on giving us clear example, even if it's just one example, in-depth example of how you have shown leadership in a certain aspect, in something that you have recognized as a problem, or something that you've seen in your community, something you've seen in your occupation, in your profession, in the university, depending upon what your background is. So it could be something you've identified, and give us examples of if it has been recognized by your wider community, by your university, by your political party, it may be, or the government, so much the better. So give us examples of that, or it could be an example of how you have tried to forge into a new territory. That's a very good example of how you have shown leadership. So talk about the hardships, talk about the preparation that you engaged with, talk about your determination into achieving something. So evidence of that, of how you encountered hardships and how you managed to go above and beyond in terms of establishing that leadership. So that is one good example. Talk about the steps that you've taken to reach that point. So that forms a part of an outstanding or a very good application in terms of leadership. Next comes is your relationship building and the shared learning. Again, it's not about talking about giving a definition of what are the benefits of a relationship building and shared learning. It's your evidence of, it's your understanding of that leaders are not born and they don't walk alone. They take people together with them. So talk about what you understand about relationship building and evidence. It's a large proportion of your application is about your evidence of your understanding. Give us practical evidence of how you have engaged in relationship building. One very common, call it a flaw, call it an error that I see in applications is when applicants name key people. Don't do that. It doesn't serve you. Give us the application, or in the application, give us evidence of how you have used that, your skills of relationship building in widening your field of influence. Talk about that. Give us the clear results that you have produced. If it has resulted in a larger, say, for example, a WhatsApp group, which has produced concrete results in whatever you were trying to solve. That helps in telling us about your field of influence. Talk about, again, the steps. You started small. How did it expand? The problems that you encountered, you still carried on. That's a very good example of your understanding of how relationships and shared learning work. Again, evidence it in clear English. Make sure you read your answers loudly. As an academic, I do it all the time. I train. My field is in primary English, so I talk about the. Make sure your answers are not wordy. Make sure you are to the point. Make sure you're not repeating yourself. Third point in that is about studying in the UK. Again, in those answers, I find often the applications which do not stand out as outstanding or as very good, they lack key information. They lack the evidence of showing that you have spent time in engaging with what will you do at Durham, or what will you do if your application is successful? What do you want to learn while you are in the UK? Could be one university you are very, very influenced by, could be 3 universities, could be just 2 universities. The key thing is the detail. Key thing is you show the assessor that you have spent time in finding more about the course. How does it relate to what you have done before? Your journey in terms of leadership, your journey in terms of relationship building. It's about that contact, that the steps and the circle of all joining together. So whatever problems or whatever you're trying to solve and learn more through your relationship building and your leadership skills, how would the course enhance that? So make sure you go through those 3 universities very carefully. Outstanding applications generally give us the insight into the modules that you are going to engage with, the course that you have looked into very carefully. You're often influenced by some key experts in the area. Durham, call me biased, but again, I work at Durham University, so we are world renowned. We do have experts who are renowned in the world in their fields. So pay attention to that. Mention some of those. Benefit, write about the benefit. How will engagement or studying under their tutelage add to your understanding? Add to the problems that you are trying to solve, add to the difference that you are making in your community. How would those courses enhance your understanding? How would you learn something that you don't know before? So pay attention to that. Read about those universities, read about those blogs, read about the student experience. Make sure you bring that into your application. The last point is again about your career plan. All 4 aspects are equally valuable. So there you talk about your career plan in terms of making sure that you give us an idea of what will you do. Post-study plan is equally important. So when you're studying at the master's level, at this postgraduate level, you show the assessor that you have an understanding of, while taking this major step into your career, into your education, into wanting to solve, for example, this problem that you see in your community, see in your university, see in your occupation, what will you do once you have finished this course successfully? It's about, again, giving us a very clear idea in depth and breadth as well, in terms of your immediate plans, in terms of your long-term plans. Often we see in the applications that applicants do not give us realistic ideas or realistic steps that they will take once they are going to go back to their country and put into practice what they have learned on the course. I'll give you a very small, very significant example here. Often applicants talk about making an influence on policy. That is, again, stepping into politics to some extent. But if in the other 3 examples, in your questions and the answers that you have written, you've made no mention of your engagement with politics or the policy, again, engaging at the policy stage in terms of leadership, in terms of relationship building, in terms of even studying, then it's very highly unlikely that the assessor would be convinced by your short-term step or your short-term goal of engaging with politics in your own country. So make sure that your answers, they go from one step to the other. They're building on each other in terms of your career plans, in terms of your ideas of what would you do in the short term, your well thought through ideas of this is what I'm going to engage with. One very good example here is you always show your understanding and your information, your know-how of getting in touch with Chevening alumni. Once you're in touch with them, what will you do? How will you expand your knowledge, your sphere of influence in terms of short term as well as long term? So outstanding and very good answers. These are the kind of answers which generally are offered interviews later on. It's all about at least providing at least one or two very good, clear examples of how would you make a difference. In terms of written English, your answers have to be very clear English. But I think one thing that stands out for me is your own understanding of authentic engagement with the process, where you are able to show that you are genuinely interested in learning more about whatever you have chosen through the application process, through the scholarship process. What do you want to learn and how will you bring it back to your own country? It's not about blowing your own trumpet. It's not about just telling, oh, how good I am, or look at me, how good I am. It's about staying confident yet humble in terms of understanding that whatever you're trying to achieve through your study, your engagement with the learning process, the higher education process, you are not able to achieve things on your own. You take people with you. And that should shine through your application. That's what I mean when I say stay confident yet humble. So I think with that, I think I'm trying to stay on course with time. I'm here. If you want to ask any more questions about your applications, you will have an opportunity to answer at the end. With that, I hand back over to Tom. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Kulwinder. That was brilliant. And as Kulwinder mentioned, there'll be an opportunity later on in the session to ask any questions that you may still have after that piece. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague Summer now, who joins us from the international office. So she's got a really interesting perspective on what it's like to be a student here and to be part of our global student experience. So Summer, I'm pleased to hand over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Summer and I'm from the International Relations team here at Durham University. And our team, International Relations, we work as a team of three, including me, my colleague Clarisse and Ryan. We support international scholarships like Chevening and among others. So here I'm just going to introduce you to kind of the life here at Durham, which we could kind of divide into two sides, which is your academic studies and also your life after studies at the university. So as Tom briefly introduced slightly earlier, we are one of the oldest universities in England as the third, and we were established way ago in the 1832. And also we have a very good reputation, both locally here in the UK, internationally, as we are QS 100 universities, and also we are a member of Russell Group here in the UK. But here are the few photos that are from one of the, quite a few famous films that have been filmed here at Durham. Quite a few scenes in Harry Potter that you might notice were filmed here in the cathedral, and also we welcomed the Adventures film set here a few years ago to shot one of the scenes in their movie. So this is one of the things that our students would talk about. Like, lots of them would actually take photos from where those scenes are shot. So it's kind of like an interesting thing to kind of like get your insights into like where is Durham and what it's like. And I'll move on to the academic studies here at Durham. So across the whole universities, we we have 4 faculties, including the business school, the art and humanities department, science, and we have a lot of different departments within all those faculties. And we do understand that in recent years, there have been kind of like a big trend into multidiscipline subjects. So even though we have like individual faculties, you will be able to choose a lot of programs that are cross different faculties. So for example, we understand that like data science have been very popular and very useful. And we have been introducing a lot of different programs within that little program, like, for example, data science in social analytics, or like in law and finance, so things like that. So it gives you kind of both insight and knowledge into your subject areas, but also give you kind of enough skills to actually conduct research in those areas. So those are very kind of like useful programs and practical as well, to develop your both interest and skills into your potential career. And technically, the application for academic programs over October, and for postgraduate taught programs, you will be able to submit an application through our university application portal. So if you are applying to Chevening, please do make sure you select Chevening when you make your application in our university that's on record, and we can do, for example, waiving your application fee in that sense. And most of the programs are on a rolling basis, meaning that when you submit an application, your application will be reviewed by our admissions team. And we currently have a turnover time around 6 weeks to give a decision on your application. So next, I'm going to talk about a bit of your life after your academic studies. So one of the kind of most significant and unique experience here at Durham is the collegiate system. We are one of 3 universities in the UK that still conduct a collegiate system. Meaning that you will be living in colleges, and you will have social there. We have been college well developed throughout all those years since the university established, and most students find their friends for life and also different communities like societies in their college. So it's kind of a big part of your social experience here at Durham. So the next slides, you'll be able to see like all different colleges in one table. So we do ask you to rank your college preference when you make an application to us, and all the different colleges will have their own unique factors which students find like have their own preference. So for example, some of the colleges are really historical and traditional, namely Castle and Hatfield. In those colleges, you will be expecting a very kind of like traditional British experience, whereas if you are preferring some sort of like modern life or like kind of active experience, might be more interested in colleges where they are established a bit newer, like for example Ustinov and South colleges, where they have a lot more kind of like modern facilities, things like that. One of the most kind of like significant indicators for students are, for example, if you want to cook, and there are some catered colleges which you won't have to cook your own meals because it's provided in the dining halls, or there are some others that you will be able to make your own food, like those self-catered colleges. So if you are interested, we will have this information on our university website for you to review, and before you rank your preference into all those colleges. So this is a photo showing one of kind of the most significant events that will be held in some colleges, namely the gowned formal dinner. So this is a picture of our Castle College in their dining hall. It kind of looked like a Harry Potter film set, but it's actually one of our kind of like events that will be throughout the year here at Durham. So in those colleges, you will be wearing a kind of black gown, and you will be attending very kind of like formal dinner, and there will be quite a lot throughout the year, and with your friends. So this is quite a unique experience that you won't be able to get anywhere else if they don't have like a college system like us. So it's very unique, and most of our students find this really special, and this is one of the reasons that they really want to come to Durham as well. And besides that, with all of societies and also different clubs that you will have in your college, you kind of form a very close connection to the college itself. So it kind of represents one of our identities here as a student at Durham. So for all the kind of postgraduate taught students, as long as you are international, you will be guaranteed an accommodation at one of the colleges. So like I said earlier, you will be able to rank all your preferences, and you will be kind of guaranteed for a room in one of our colleges. And typically this happens in May and June every year in the process. In terms of the supports that we give as universities, so again, college will be one of the main kind of, because each college have their own system and staff member team. So from the day that you arrive here at Durham, you have like, for example, induction week, where you engage with existing students and members of staffs in your college, and you attend different activities. And throughout the year, there will be a dedicated welfare team and also mentors at the college to support with anything that you might need in both your academic life and your after school life. So anything in terms of like well-being, you'll be well taken care of, because each college will have their own kind of team or member of staff to help. Also, as a university, we are also focusing on different areas. For example, our DCAR team, which supports like, for example, academic writing or speaking. And also we do have a counseling service team that will help with anything related to like mental health, well-being. And also our academic tutors will be there guiding you through, for example, your dissertation writing and anything you might encounter during your study here. In terms of, last but not least, careers, I know if we're applying, for example, to Chevening scholarship, already have some work experience from before, and you're looking to kind of further develop your career. Durham is one of the most reputable universities as employees in the UK, and among like above 80% of our graduates will be in full-time employment or further studies within around like 15 months after they graduate. So we are kind of like very good reputation among all the employers, both internationally and here in the Durham. There is almost every week there will be fairs in terms of like career service, and also employers coming to Durham to introduce the work roles and like graduate schemes here. So even though it might seem like Durham is some distance away from London, so in perception, you might feel like, oh, there's not much opportunities around. But in fact, a lot of employers that are based in London will actually come up to Durham to give like career service talk, and also attending like job fairs, things like that. So there's a lot of cool things going on almost every week here at Durham University. So you don't have to worry to actually go down to like the big cities like Durham, like Manchester and London to actually see those opportunities. And that's about it. And I'll finish with one of the lovely pictures of our graduation event here at the cathedral. And I'll hand over back to Tom to kind of introduce Enkwa, who is one of our current talk about students and a scholar at Durham. And if you have any questions in terms of application and also the life here at Durham, please feel free to drop it in the Q&A box, and we're happy to answer that later on.
Perfect. Thanks, Summer. Thank you for running through that. That was really, really helpful. And like Summer says, if you've got any questions specifically around the student experience, so whether that's the academic experience or kind of your wider student experience, then please do save them for the end, and Summer and the team can answer those. So I'm just going to jump in and introduce Ancora, who's our Chevening scholar, and they've got some slides to talk you through exactly what it's like to come through the process, to come out the other end, and then to arrive here at Durham. So Ancora, can I just introduce you?
Hi everyone, my name is Kulwinder. I'm come from Vietnam, and I was awarded the Chevening Scholarship in 2024, and I'm currently studying the M8 in Educational Leadership and Change at Durham University. So in this presentation, I will talk about two main topics about the Chevening Scholarship and the Durham Universities. So regarding to the scholarship, from my perspective, it's important to always focus on constructive alignment throughout the entire applicant process. You know, it's not a coincidence that Chevening requires applicants to have at least 2 years of working experience. I believe it's the right amount of times for us to reflect what we have done and what we need to do next. And so the Chevening application, especially the 4 essays, is a unique chance to reflect deeply on our past and present, and to clarify our vision for the future. So what we learned in the UK becomes, I see that a bridge toward our future goals. And to me, the whole journey required a constructive alignment between what we did, what we are going to do, and what we aim to become. So I always focus to this keyword for entire of my process, and they help me a lot. So I hope this help you as well. As for Durham Universities, there are 4 aspects that have impressed me the most. First of all is the program and professors. I choose that Durham is directly linked me to my future career as a school principal. That's why I choose the course Educational Leadership and Change. And I've studied practical and forward-thinking modules. The professors offer me more than just wisdom. They understand its students' learning journey. Sometimes their advice didn't make sense right away. And long time later, I just realized that it's really helpful. Just this time, I do not know how it can help me, but later on, I realized it became crystal clear. Their teaching style is something you can only to feel by being in their classes. And it's hard to show what through brochures or websites. You have to come here and, you know, experience that. The second thing is Durham provides excellent student support. As Summer mentioned before, you know, from academic help to financial advice, religious services, career development, and I see the employer connections with companies and many organizations. There's always someone ready to guide you, no matter what kind of help you need. In addition, Chevening actively encourages scholars to get involved in life in UK throughout its bucket list activities you may want to join. And as long as you manage your stipend wisely, I think the stipends Chevening provide you is more than enough to support your trip within the UK or even the other parts of Europe. About the people in Durham, they surprised me with their kindness. You know, a few weeks ago, I lost my wireless earphone near the river, and I have no idea where I left them. Then I went to London, and suddenly I received a message. Someone named Dean and Mark had found them. After one full day by river, they were still there. And 2 people searched and returned the earphone to me completely intact. And the last thing is the nature. The nature is also a big part of my experience. I live at the Josephine Butler College, right next to the Botanic Garden. And just a few minutes work and I can sit in a quiet green corner to study and enjoy a cup of tea. And I feel calm and focused in this environment. And that is the best feeling I ever enjoy in my life. So that's all I want to share about my experience with the Chevening Scholarship and Durham University. I hope all of them have you make a decision to come here with the Durham University and in the Chevening application process. So thank you for your attention.
And Cole, that was fantastic, and really, really nice to hear about that incident with the headphones as well. I think that just really amplifies the kind of the general feeling here in Durham. It's a really welcoming, safe place to come and study and live. And experiences like that happen kind of all the time. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. So we're gonna open the floor now to questions. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to either pop them in the chat. Gareth, do you want to say a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you, Tom, and thank you for narrating that as well. It's always difficult when there's so many people on, but you did a stellar job. Thank you very much. Look, to begin with, a few questions come through around Chevening, and look, Chevening is very popular in the UK. There'll be a lot of students around the world that will apply for a Chevening scholarship and that will be watching this webinar that have been unsuccessful. But what would you recommend and suggest to those students that aren't lucky enough to enroll on the Chevening scholarship? Perhaps it could be that they need to try again. Perhaps it might be that it's just not right for them. Do you help those students and do you guide them in the right direction in terms of what they can and can't hopefully apply for and actually enroll on? And likewise, if you want to pass that on to someone else in the team, more than happy to do so.
I guess if you are, unsuccessful, obviously we know Chevening is a very competitive scholarship. It's a full scholarship. So we are talking about 42,000 applications a year for Chevening. Durham has, we have an agreement with Chevening. So, we love to see Chevening scholars. And we waive all the fees because we know how impressive scholars from Chevening such as Enko are, and how we benefit in terms of our community by having those scholars. Having said that, we understand that it might not be enough, and it's not really up to us in terms of the selection, because it is really something that Chevening holds in terms of the selection. We can support the students as much as possible and engage with them when they come to us. But having said that, if you are a scholar unsuccessful with Chevening, there are other scholarships available at Durham that you can try to look for and apply for. A lot of them not as generous as Chevening, because a full scholarship with stipend, it is difficult to find, but there might be other options depending where you're coming from. Sometimes the British Council might have other options, but I would also, as we've heard today, is you really need to make a very thorough application. I am also an assessor for Chevening, so it really depends the type of scholars who really are very thorough with their answers, and they have got the experience and they can really show the examples. And maybe it's the first time, might not be one that you will go through, but I do encourage them to apply again at least twice, because they could use the experience of applying once to go after some of these experiences that might enhance their application later on.
Okay, and while I've both got you here, how important is it, the role of AI? Because it's a very, very kind of contentious theme at the moment, isn't it, around the world, not only with applications or normal courses, but especially when it comes to funding and Chevening in particular. The idea of Chevening scholars is that they are the best of the best, perhaps. How important is it that when a student is putting forward their application, that it's a true reflection of themselves, and it's not allowing a computer to do it for them, because it is very transparent, isn't it? If I can start with you, Kulwinder, to begin with.
Yes, absolutely. But the nature of the questions and the way we assess them, that is why I said that it's not about feeling like, oh, I'm blowing in my own trumpet or not being clear enough. It's about evidencing your practice. It's about talking about your hardships as well. What have you learned from when you failed? Often it happens is we look at the question, we think, well, actually, you know what? I just need to tell them how good I am or how successful I was. And the very nature of those questions and the way they are designed to give examples of the kind of issues you've had, or how you've persevered, how you've actually made sure that you've shown leadership, and the nature of the question itself, because it's so open in terms of your background, what the kind of courses you're applying to. So it's all about making sure that all the 4 questions, they give us a clear picture. And being an academic myself and marking assignments as well, you know what, I always tell my students, I can tell within 5 minutes of reading whether it's an AI done job or it's you writing. I can tell. And most of the academics, and particularly when we are looking at so many applications, we can tell when it's something which is authentic, which links with the other questions. And we have a look at thinking, well, yes, you've given me enough evidence of showing that, yes, you've learned, you are really passionate about solving this problem. And that comes through the way the questions are designed and the kind of answers that are expected out of the students. I'm sure Clarisse would agree with me on this.
Yeah, it is very much, you need to link everything. If your experience, your background, is not in sync with the answers, it doesn't matter if it's AI or not AI, we can tell.
Yes, and it's like when you're looking at the course and you don't even, some applicants wouldn't even mention the universities. You can tell, oh, you haven't spent enough time on choosing something. So it's a whole package.
Yeah, so I agree, Kulwinder, and we work very closely with Chevening. We're partners with Chevening. We help any students that go onto the Chevening website and apply using our course search facility, which is fantastic. One of the bits of feedback that Chevening actually give us year on year, more so the last couple of years than ever, is the lack of detail in applications, and the everything is detailed that it is in that application will be going to Chevening, will be going to the university. Everything, they need to know everything, because ultimately they're offering you a free scholarship, and they need to be sure that you are the right person for that. So I can't re-emphasize enough what you've just said. Excellent. One of the questions that have also come in is around age. Now, this is a really great point. I think over the last 5 years, probably post-COVID, probably the biggest growing and emerging market in terms of demographics is more mature students. Anyway, and I class mature as probably 30 onwards, students that have been to university, perhaps got different circumstances, a family, children, whatever it might be. There is no age limitation on this, isn't there? Is there?
No,
so
yes.
that's
there
kind of the
isn't.
beauty. You could be at different stages of your career and your life and still apply.
Yeah, and they expect you to have some work experience, so they don't want someone who's just finished an undergraduate because they haven't had that experience, the life experience and the work experience to really take full advantage of the masters in the UK.
It depends upon, again, as which country you're applying from, because various countries, over the years, I've marked for a number of countries. I wouldn't name them, but again, a variety of countries that we've marked for. And you see that some countries have a very young population engaging with Chevening. Those who are, again, you'll see their examples, their evidence is generally coming from their place of their university. So you can tell that it's a very younger population engaging with the application process. And some countries, you find that there are people who are in the middle of their careers, who are middle management, and they have been encouraged by their senior management, by their line managers. COVID also produced a large number of, at that time, post-COVID particularly, we had a lot of interest in candidates wanting to engage with public health initiative, and that completely dependent upon their experiences of their own countries. So that is the beauty of it, that once you can tell, again, as I said before, that you can tell when you read the application, when candidates are very passionate about their position in life, their position in their career, and what they have learned looking at issues around them, and them wanting to make a difference in their own country and where they are. So I've seen sometimes it works really beautifully, depending upon what you're applying for, what kind of a course you're applying for, that you are very young and you're coming straight from the university, you're full of new ideas and vigor and energy. And on the other hand, if you are a middle-aged candidate, you've worked in your particular field for a very long time, and you're looking for that, making that difference, looking at all the different, how life has changed around you, how your country has changed around, and you're passionate about making that difference, Chevening is definitely for you. But engagement with the application process in terms of spending time thinking about, why am I doing it, is key. And that has to come out in your application. Often, yes, Chevening, if people are right. When I write country reports, we often think that, yes, lack of detail. It often happens that you see the application is rushed through. There isn't enough detail in one question. There's more detail in the others. Even that works against the application. So spend enough time thinking about, what do you want out of your Chevening scholarship is key.
Excellent. How do you accommodate for, I mean, we've just mentioned the different varieties of student, more mature, different circumstances. If one student does have a young family and they do want to come over for a year, is that something that, or 2 years, is that something that you can accommodate for, bringing their families over, helping them with that, or partners, or is that just simply a no-go?
It's not to do with us, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
It is UKVI regulations. So because they will be coming for a taught postgraduate, not a research one, they are not allowed to bring dependents, I'm afraid.
Excellent. And one more thing is around the English language requirement. There will be a lot of students that will be watching all around the world that will go, right, I want to apply for the Chevening Scholarship. That sounds fantastic. There will be many people that do online courses now that are not certified by IELTS or TOEFL or Pearson's, whatever it might be. What level are they required to be at? And also, what help can you offer a student if their English language requirement isn't at that standard?
So normally we would have pre-sectional, we would have, some courses for them to engage. Unfortunately, in the case of Chevening, they need to have an offer from the university. And for them to have an offer from Durham, they will have to meet the English requirements, before they can, basically before the time that this year, for example, I know was the 10th of July, when there was the limit of confirming, which university and having an offer to show Chevening they've got an unconditional, they've met all the conditions, including English requirement. So unfortunately, it's part of the scholarship itself, nothing that the University Durham can do for them if they are offered the scholarship but haven't got the English yet. It needs to be something they need to work on prior, to getting the scholarship. Otherwise, Chevening won't be able to award it, unfortunately.
Super. Go on, Kulwinder.
It's a case of, I think it's very, very important for candidates to remember that a good level of English is required. Studying at the university, any university in the UK, would become difficult. So to actually make sure that you are making full use of the opportunity provided to you, starting off from the application process, writing the application, and again, going through the interview process, all of that is just the prerequisite. But the actual engagement with the courses would be affected if you don't possess that level of engagement. So working on that engagement, it's so many online courses, online engagement is possible. So my advice would be to definitely engage with that. Make sure that your understanding of The higher education system in England, in the UK, is really good if you want to make really good use of your time in the UK.
And I guess another point that it's worth mentioning, I came to the UK to do my master's, and even though I had the love of English and I had lived abroad before, it is really difficult at the beginning because the UK educational system is quite different than anywhere else. And this first 6 months, and probably Nkwa can tell us a little bit more, you really need to grasp the language to start with, because the academic side of the language is very heavy, and the year goes very quick. So if you still have to learn the language, in the meantime, while you're studying, it's just not going to be as productive, and you're not going to achieve, the best results you could achieve in your master's without those language skills.
One thing I would say again, engage with critical thinking.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is one big difference that you will find. International students of any nature, any country they come from, that's one big difference with the UK higher education system. Engagement with critical thinking, engagement with how to think and write and read critically. And that is key to this. And so as you're thinking about applying for Chevening, make sure you start reading about it. There's so much information throughout the world online available now to read critically and to write critically, to think critically. So once you start thinking about Chevening, start making use of your time in developing understanding. Go on blogs, go online, have a look at what different universities are saying about it, and make sure you've got all that package, that you've really made up your mind in terms of applying and preparing in every single possible way to have a successful time.
Thank you. Really appreciate your time. Ladies, as much as I'm sure you both eat, sleep, drink, repeat Chevening, we're going to have to call things a day there. Thank you for your time. It's been a great, engaging session. Just a reminder that today's session has been live on the 23rd of July, 2025. If anyone has any questions, any concerns, any issues relating to this on demand, it's webinars@postgradsolutions.com. The Chevening Scholarships opening day, I believe, is the 3rd or 4th of August, so it's coming up fairly soon. Durham is a great part of the UK. It's a prestigious university. It's Russell Group University, collegiate as well. So I recommend anybody that is interested within the Chevening, but outside of Chevening as well, to really have a look at Durham and look at that as one of their first master's options. Tom, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Thanks for navigating our way through. Tom will be in touch over the next 2 to 3 weeks with anyone that's registered for this session. And if you do have any questions, I'm sure Tom will pass on all the details of those that have participated live on the screen now and in the background. So thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care and have a lovely summer.